In this episode, we are pouring the radiant slab-on-grade floor of our earth-sheltered home. You can see that we've already done our jobs and set up the PEX tube for the radiant floor, and then also added a grid of rebar on rebar chairs. Both were inspected and passed the previous week. The big morning has arrived and the concrete crew has shown up as scheduled. For posterity, I'm just walking around with the time-lapse camera and taking pics of all the radiant tubes. They need to pump the concrete all the way to the back room. The hose is made of segments that will click and clamp together. Down this hall, you can see that the hose segments have already been hooked up. They protect the PEX tubes from the clamps with vibranium shields. For the past couple hours, I've been running heaters in here to try to get the place as warm as possible. It's winter and the temperature is well below freezing outside. These concrete walls are slowly warming as they absorb the heat, and they'll slowly release it back out again after the propane runs out. The concrete mix truck arrives and dumps its concrete into the hopper on the back of the pump truck. This is a very expensive rig to pump the concrete all the way up there and then all the way down again. No idea why they didn't just use a line pump, but since the bid was just a very reasonable per square foot amount and this beast just cuts into their profit, I don't mind. That is the cone from the slump test. Let's follow the hose inside. The hose is made of short sections with easy release clamps. Each is carefully kept off the PEX tubes. That ball right there was shot through to prime the pump truck tubes over that huge vertical lift. Here are the official shields. Every now and then you'll see a strap attached to help move the hose. And then around the corner is the crew, already getting started. These were a great bunch of guys, laughing and joking most of the time. Let's get to the time lapse. This first camera's going to get stranded in here until the floor is done. The guys moved it out into the hall for me. Because it is a winter pour, the mix supplier uses hot water to give us a head start on the cure. That makes it pretty steamy in here. This floor has been screeded and bull floated, somewhat level, but not yet hand floated or troweled. Yep, this camera is stuck in here for the rest of the day. Fortunately, I have another, and this is how it looked from that other camera. As they work back down the hall, there are a couple guys on the crews whose primary job is to unclamp and remove sections of the hose. That way, they're not dragging it back across that somewhat delicate radiant floor setup. Another video clip. Most of these guys do work directly for the flatwork contractor that I hired. The guy with the remote works for the pump truck company. The mix supplier guy usually stays in his truck, but he couldn't resist taking a peek at some point. David would be very comfortable with a pet anaconda. That's the stomping around I was talking about in the last video. I didn't see any EPS break up under their boots, but I did see rebar chairs get crushed into it. You don't have to love concrete construction to think this is a cool looking scene. The crew also bought this 210,000 BTU diesel heater to help keep the place warm. I just need to keep it full of diesel for the next 2 weeks. Not wanting to paint themselves into a corner, they just swung the hose over to do the kitchen next. Then they work their way out the door. Again, this is just the float finish. They've been pouring for about 3 hours now, nearly 4 since they started setting up. As soon as they were out the door, I attached a 4x8 sheet of 2-inch thick EPS insulation, just trying to keep the place a little warmer. Here's how it looks from outside. Those big piles of mess are the concrete that's wasted by the pump truck just to fill the hose between the hopper and the nozzle. I think of it as an experiment, and I'll see how well that sets up in the freezing weather, and I'll know that the inside floor is even better. It only took about a 10-minute break, and then they were back into the bedrooms. The concrete there was stiff enough to support a person if they spread their weight out over a few square feet. You can see that each guy has a magnesium float, that's the thicker one they have, and a steel trowel. The steel trowel makes the surface denser and harder, and of course smoother. They're literally using their body weight to compact and consolidate the top surface of the concrete, so this is hard work. Bryce painted himself into the entryway, so I opened up that EPS door to let him out. The first trowel pass took about an hour and a half. Then they took about an hour break to let the concrete cure a bit more, and then started again. Each successive troweling must apply more pressure, so they could use smaller trowels or work them at a steeper angle or push harder. Probably all three. Since the concrete is stiff enough to walk on now, James is using a power trowel. And this is a third pass with the steel trowels. My GoPro needed some time off while the battery charged, so I probably missed a pass or two. At this point, these 4 guys have been there for about 10 hours, troweling for most of 6 of those. It was at least 11 before these 4 went home. Money well spent. So now I just need to keep the place warm for a week or 2. That diesel heater uses up about a gallon per hour when it's running, so I started day 2 by refilling it and restarting it. I also added water to the floor to help with the cure. Wet cured concrete is twice as strong. Most of the strength comes in the first week, but the next month is also pretty important, and then it just keeps on gaining a tiny bit more strength each day for thousands of years. I borrowed these tall heaters from the church. They use them during the town's Christmas parade. I also borrowed other heaters and propane tanks from friends. That roof up there is concrete, but not yet insulated. In fact, there's a snowman up there right now. So this place is not yet earth sheltered or warm at all. My little office gets its own heater. You can see the little register marked with flags so the guys wouldn't just trowel right over it. Before the propane can be burned, it first undergoes a phase change from a liquid to a gas. This absorbs a lot of energy from the surroundings and actually freezes the tanks as the pressure drops. PV equals nRT. This freezing would be counterproductive, so we keep those tanks off the ground on insulated pads. It's humid in here and cold outside, so that plastic window up there is collecting condensation. And then it drips down here and has made a bit of a splash in the concrete. Oh, there goes some more now. This monster heater has turned itself off. That may be fine because it has a thermostat and it's pretty warm in here, but I needed to make sure. So this knob here increases the thermostat and fires up the heater. Yep, it's working, so I can set it back down again to the right temperature. It's too bad my GoPro doesn't record sound anymore because that thing sounded pretty cool. This bedroom side of the house does have insulation and earth sheltering, so it never freezes back here, but I ran some heaters anyway. Again, with so much water on the roof and humidity in the air, condensation is collecting in that tube and dripping. Yup, another splash point. I took the heater out of here because these rooms don't really need it, even with plastic windows. This is the radiant floor manifold for the bedrooms. The plastic was just to protect it from the concrete splatter. You can see the system is still pressurized. If these guys had broken any tubes, we would have all heard all the air come rushing out. It still would have been bad, but at least we would have known right away. Electrical panel. The master bedroom. Again, pretty warm and humid in here, but that's good for concrete curing. All the rough plumbing's on this side. A few paint splotches on the wall as Sherry gets ready for the next phase. Let's dig out some floor vents. We formed them with blocks of XPS to get the shape, and now we just cut them out. Then I drilled the actual EPDM tube to let the air through. These holes act like a muffler for sound transmission and prevent any critters from using these as a subway. And another one, this one's closer to the mechanical room, so the tube is deeper. Concreting over that dirt floor was a huge step for us. We're now one step closer to habitable. If you want to see what comes next, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. The YouTube algorithm will also show this to more people if you make comments or do other interactions, so do what you can. Thanks.